Well, hi there everyone, farmsimgamer here and welcome to Lukah's Island. Now this is a new mod map by Cazz64, an old Aussie gamer. Now for those of you that are on PC and you follow Cazz's work and old Aussie gamer, then you may be aware of Cazz's Island Life 16x map that was launched about 6 or 7 weeks ago for PC only. Now this is its smaller brother, which Cazz has created on a similar theme for both PC and console players. It's a standard 2x map. It is seasons ready, and there is a Hawaii seasons geo that's available. If you just go to the mod hub and search for seasons, then you'll find it within the geo listing. It is precision farming ready and has its own custom soil map. There's just the standard crop types that are available, but there are some modded items in the shop menu which I will come on to a little bit later. Now to start things off, let's take a quick look at the map. Now as you can see, the main island occupies only about 20% of the overall map itself. It is however surrounded by 16 smaller islands, but a large proportion of the map is water, which you might think is a little odd. But the beauty of this map is not what you see, but what you can create with it. Now if we go and have a look at the land view, you can see that out in the sea there are plots that you can purchase that are connected to either the main island or to one of those small islands, except for one that's down in the bottom southeast corner. Now once you've purchased a plot of land, you can then use the landscaping tool to raise the ground out of the sea to create new land areas and new fields, and I'll show you how you can do that a little bit later. Now if I have a look at the plot prices, in comparison to some of those that are on the main island itself, so field 10 as an example, priced at £225,000, you can see that these plots of land are actually quite reasonably priced in comparison to those plots on the main island and their size. Now the reason for that is it obviously costs a certain amount of money to use the landscaping tool to raise the land out of the ground, so they've been priced fairly reasonably in order to help with that. Now if you start in new farmer mode, then you get the main farm, which is located over on the eastern side of the main island, and you get plot 2 as well. Now just going back to the main island itself, there are 23 fields in total, most of which are on the small to medium size. They are however only separated by sandy tracks and palm trees that can easily be removed, so you can merge the fields together. The shop is located fairly centrally, which is next to field 22. There's a workshop trigger there that you would expect, and also a diesel sale point. The animal dealership is located towards the southeast. There are 6 sell points, 2 of which are for your crops and grains, which is Ginger's Mill and Skipper's Mill. There is a sawmill surrounded by a small area of palm trees up in the north. There is Professor Bales by the animal dealership, a spinnery on the south of the main island, and Mary Ann's Dairy, which is located by the shop. Now if you start in new farmer mode, then you do get some crop in your silo already, particularly for wheat, barley, oats, canola, sunflower and soybeans and corn. So you do have a little bit to get you going into sell in the first place. And as I mentioned, there's only the 6 selling points and just the standard crop types that are available. As far as your vehicle loadout goes in new farmer mode, you start with the favourite 511C tractor. You get the New Holland TX32 combine, the Strautmann SEK 802 trailer, you get the TX32 header, Polymag 300 cultivator, you get the D830 Amazon drill, you get the Axis fertiliser spreader, you get the Stoll front loader with universal bucket and pallet fork, and then as far as buildings are concerned, you get the free range chicken coop, which is a modded version. You've got the modded grain silo, just a small version. The rusty shed one, which again is a modded version. There's a couple of others that are available in the shop menu, and you also get the log cabin, which is your sleep trigger, and we'll go and have a quick look at those in a little while. Now all of the vehicles that you start with in your garage in new farmer mode are actually located up at the shop rather than on the farm, so you'll need to go and pick those up at some point. Now if we have a little look in the shop menu, I don't believe that there are any modded vehicles or items of machinery or tools or anything at all, but there are a few placeable mods. If we just have a quick look in the animal pens, the only one that's in here is just the free range chicken coop that's right at the end here. If we go and have a look in miscellaneous, I don't think there's anything in there, no. In silos, we've got a number of modded silos that are here. We've got single bunker silo, double and triple. We've also got the rusty grain silos as well. So there's a standard small version, there's a large grain silo, a large grain silo extension as well. Now in decoration, towards the end here, you will also note that there are a number of palm trees that are in here as well. So when you go to convert some of those lands that are out in the sea, then you can use the palm trees for decoration. In the sheds, we've obviously got the rusty sheds that are in here. There's 3 different sizes for these, 1, 2 and 3. And then within farmhouses, you've just got the addition of that log cabin, which is quite reasonably priced at 75,000. Now you can't go inside this, it's just a sleep trigger, but it's in keeping obviously with the map itself. Now one thing I did remember actually that's in the tools section is that your crop protection sprayers do also take digestate and slurry. I think Cazz added those into almost a farm and rustic acres as well, so just that's quite useful because they can spread more than just the regular herbicide and fertiliser. Now, a couple of other things that I'll point out. There are 2 locations where you can collect water. One's this little sinkhole that's kind of in the middle of the map. Now, don't worry, you don't have to back into it. You just need to get close to it to be able to get water. And then there's also the pond that's up at the Sawmill as well, so you can pick water up from here. Now, one thing I would just touch on in terms of all the palm trees. Now, you can cut these down with a chainsaw and chop them up and sell them as either wood or wood chips. And even the ones that you can place that are available in the shop menu, once placed, you can also cut those down and sell them for wood and wood chips as well. Now, in addition to the main farm, there are also a couple of other placeable areas, one of which is located next to the shop, quite conveniently in the middle of the island, and the other one is down by the spinnery on the southern part of the island. Now, if you purchase this one, you also get a couple of plots of land that are just north of the sawmill, where you get some palm trees as well, so they're all part of that purchase. Now, before I go and do a little walk around tour, I'll just kind of put things into perspective. So I'm kind of hovering in the middle of the map, just over that sinkhole. Now, if we look over in that direction, that's over to the eastern side of the map. That's the starting farm that you get. Now, just moving off a little bit to one side, we've got Ginger's Mill, which is one of the grain sell points. Then moving further around, you can see the animal stockyard that's there. And just a bit further in the distance over towards the south, you can see the spinnery. Now, the other grain sell point is a little bit further over on the southern coast. You can't quite see that. In the middle of the map there, you can see the shop and Mary Ann's dairy sales. And then as we swing round as well, you can see kind of nestled in the trees here is the sawmill. Now, that's pretty much the island. It's not particularly big, as you can kind of see, but most of it is on those outlying islands that are out in the sea, and I'll show you very shortly how you can start converting some of that land that's out there and expanding your farm. Right, so we'll do a little walk around map tour. Like I said, the map is not particularly big, so I don't even feel I need a vehicle to do to be able to walk you around. So this is the starting farm. We're over on the eastern side of the map, and if you're in new farmer mode, then this is what you get, and you start on the steps of the log cabin. Now, you can't go in the log cabin, the door's not openable, but this is your sleep trigger on the steps here. So nice and simple kind of house and everything. I quite like this little feature here. You've got an outdoor sink and bathtub tucked away in there, which is kind of quite nice. You get the old rusty small grain silo as well. And like I said, there is some crop in there if you're in new farmer mode. You get the smaller rusty shed. And then just over here, you've got the modded version of the chicken coop. Now, your loading point for the animals is just here. So that's there, and then your feed point is kind of just on the side here, and then your pickup point for your eggs are here. Now, I might just pop up in the air actually, because it gives a slightly better perspective of the view of the map and where everything is. So if from the start farm, if we work our way just a little bit further south, you will see one of the grain selling points. So that is Ginger's Mill down there. And very similar to the other one as well. Skipper's Mill is a little bit further south, but that's nice and conveniently located very close to the main starting farm. Now, if I go up a little bit further, then just a bit further round, tucked in a little bit away from the coast line itself, is the animal dealership. Now, the bale sales trigger is located just on the side here, so that's the Professor Bale sales, and then on the other side of the building as well is the animal loadout point as well, so that's kind of just here. Now we've only got chickens showing at the moment because that's the only animal husbandry that's placed on the map. But if you place others, obviously the animals will start to appear in here as well. Now, working our way a little bit further south, we come to the spinnery. Now, as I mentioned beforehand, located next to the spinnery, there is also that other placeable area that's just over there as well. So you can see that. So that's the spinnery down there. The drop point is just between the checkered markings, just over there. And then if I turn around towards the middle of the map, you will see just over the fields here is the main shop itself. Now, that's quite conveniently located kind of in the middle, although the map is not that big as I've already mentioned. Now located here as well we have got the diesel sell point which just kind of the back side of the shop itself, and then around the side is the workshop trigger. So that's just kind of here. You can see that's your starting equipment that you start with if you're in new farmer mode. That's all located up here at the shop, and if we walk around the other side you'll see the rest of the equipment and then the actual shop menu that's located just on the front of the building there. Now right next door to the shop we've got Mary Ann's Dairy. The trigger point for that is right in front of the building, so that's nice and easy. And then here is that additional placeable area that you can use for new farm startup if you wanted to. Now further south of Mary Ann's Dairy we've also got Skipper's Mill, which is very similar to Ginger's Mill that's over on the eastern side. So this is over on the south, as you can see, facing south over the coastline as well, and the trigger point is down in front, which you can see quite clearly. Do like the attention to detail in these. I love these old sort of sacks and bags and everything that's kind of located here. So this is the second of your grain sell points. And then if we head further north to where you can see kind of a bigger clump of palm trees, then that is where the sawmill is located. You can kind of see it just nestled in between the trees there. So we'll just drop down and have a look at that as well. So this is where your sell point is, obviously for wood, which is over there where the pond is, and then you can also see the wood chips, which is just over there by the little entrance and everything. And like I said, you can collect water from here as well. Two kind of access points in. There's one just comes in from the northern part of the island, and then one kind of from the middle part of the island. Now that's it as far as the sell points and everything are concerned. So quite a simple layout and everything, but you've got everything here that you would need. So that's it for the tour of the main island, which as you can see is not particularly big, but that's where the fun starts. Most of your enjoyment with this map will really come from expanding and extending out into those areas in the sea itself. So if you bear with me, I'll show you how you can do that. Now there are two ways in which you can extend land out into the sea. You can either start from land that you own on the main island, or you can start from one of the little outlying islands and work your way back across the sea towards the main island. The most important thing is that you must own the land that is your starting point in order to be able to use the landscaping tool to extend the land outward into the water. Okay, so first up what I'm going to do is show how you might be able to extend out into the sea from the mainland. So as you can see, I have purchased a bit of land that's next to or adjacent to the two plots of land that I already own that are on the main island. So if we go into the landscaping tool, and we start that. Now as you can see, my kind of character here is green. Now you've got to start, you can't start out in the sea, you can see it's red there. You have to start on the beach and kind of go out. Now if you're not familiar with landscaping, the best tool to use is the flatten tool, where you hold both, if you're on PC, if you hold both of your mouse keys down. So what I'm going to do is I'll just spin around here, I'll get rid of the menu quickly. So holding both of them down, I can then start to move out into the actual sea itself. I can make that a little bit bigger. Now the good thing about using the flattening tool is that what it does is it takes the height of the beach and works its way out. It doesn't start raising the ground, so that's really useful. Now the only one thing that I would mention about landscaping, and for those of you who've done it you will know this already, is that it is pretty expensive. Now that's part of the reason why the plots of land that are out in the sea are quite cheap, because it is going to cost you a certain amount of money to be able to raise this land out of the ocean. Now once you've actually done that, Now, it won't show up on the actual map itself. If we go and have a look here, you can't see anything. You can't see the extension that you've done. Even if we go into the land section, you can't see any extension. So what you do have to do is that once you've raised that land out of the sea, you are going to need to create your field like you would if you were converting an area of grassland or merging two fields together. You need to use the create field function by using a plough. Or a cultivator if you've got that mod installed, so that you can start creating that field itself, and then it will start to show up on the actual map. So even if I just come out of that and we go into fruit types and scroll through again, you can't see anything that appears. So you do need to be able to create your field in order for that to be able to show up on that new block of land that you've just raised out the sea. Now I'll set up a quick courseplay course to plough in this bit of land here, just so you can see how that will materialise on the actual map itself. And whilst this is doing this, I'm going to go off and just show you how you can landscape in from one of the islands back in towards the main island. Now, as you can see, just by looking at the map, you can see the John Deere there. It looks like he's ploughing in the sea itself. But if I scroll over to the growth stage, then you can see that's starting to create a ploughed ring where I've gone out into the actual land, into the sea itself. So gradually, as he starts cultivating and ploughing that land up, that will then materialise as a block of land. And then when you start to do things in that field, so you add a crop, or it goes through various other growth stages and so on and so forth, then obviously you will start to see those actually change in that block of land that you've raised out the sea. Now I've bought another block of land which is down the south, just south of the actual spinnery. Now in this case I've bought the block of land that's obviously out in the sea, but I don't own any of the land on the main island that's adjacent to it. So I don't own plot 10, plot 14 or the spinnery itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from one of the islands going inward towards the main island, and we'll see the impact that has. Now the same thing applies here. You've got to wait for your dome to go green, and you've got to work from a piece of land that you own out into the sea. You can't start in the sea, even though you own the land that's under the sea. You can't start here. You've got to start from a piece of land and work your way out. So if I go here again, I'll use the flattening tool by holding both of my mouse keys down, and I can start to kind of extend. So again, and I can work my way back to the main island. Now I can fill in all of this block if I want to, and then likewise again, you can kind of see that the money's going down fairly quickly, so do be mindful of that when you are landscaping. Now I'll just move up a little bit, and we will see if we can kind of connect to the actual coast itself, even though I don't own any of the land there. So as I get a little bit closer, you'll see that my marker does turn red, and I can't quite connect. It's got a bit of a channel there. Now if I make it smaller, I think I did manage earlier when I did a bit of a test that I can kind of just about do a bit of a join in places. So you can kind of work a little bit slowly, and it does sort of begin to kind of work, or certainly enough that you would be able to kind of create enough of a stepping on point from the mainland onto the actual piece of land that you've kind of created. Now if you decide not to connect to the mainland, and you just want to kind of build out your island out in the actual sea itself, then you will need to think about how you're going to sell your produce, because you'll probably have to place some sell points or stuff like that on that island that you've created if you're not connected to the main island. So that's kind of how you can use your landscaping tool to create kind of and add to those plots out in the sea, and I guess the world's your oyster. A lot of creativity in what you can kind of do on a map like this. If you want to just farm, small-time farm on the island itself, then of course you can do that, but if you want to expand out into the sea, then there's loads of things that you can kind of do, and of course there are plenty of placeable packs that are available in the mod hub that you can use to be able to build, grow and extend your farm. So there we go. Whilst I was doing that other bit of landscaping in from the island, the tractor has finished ploughing up this field here, and if we just go into the menu, and you can see on the map how that block of land has kind of materialised out in the sea. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is just in the landscaping tool as well, is that there is some extra textures that are added in. Now this might be for PC only, I'm not sure if it's on console, but if you can just see here, we've got an additional sand texture which matches the style that's on the actual beach and everything as well. So if you do want to do some landscaping and you're creating new lands, then you can kind of match that. And the only other thing that I would mention as well is the grass types that we've got here. If I just come out the landscaping tool and drop down, the grass that you can kind of place as well has 4 stages of growth in it. So when you first do a bit of landscaping, you put grass down, it will just look like flat grass, but it will eventually grow to look like the flowers that you see here. So if you want to start matching things up, then you can do that quite easily. So that's it for the tour of Lukah's Island. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it interesting and informative. Another great map by Cazz64, an old Aussie gamer, and I'm sure you could have hours and hours of fun on this one. So thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, then please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please feel free to do so. So whatever you're doing, wherever you are, take care, stay safe, and I will catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.